Okay. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since our last meeting, I know, but I hope everyone's enjoyed the break. So if you guys remember last time, we worked on the text replacement in After Effects and how to do a lot of scripting, especially with lower thirds, to mass generate a bunch of different lower thirds. So today we're gonna do part two. I'll record this and it'll get uploaded here once we're done, so we can reference back to it. For this portion, we're going to be looking at how to do the mass photos into a lot of these After Effects templates that we see. Like a lot of times we'll have a lot of montages we have to create, or slideshows and whatnot, and it's a lot of times it's all the same. It's just a lot of drag and drop and how to not have to do everything individually, because I remember when I used to have to do that, and so this is how we can get past that. And then after we just do that basic thing, I'll go into some of the more complex scenarios, and it's not mandatory for you to like start learning, but I think it's just if you have a bit more technical prowess, we could we'll talk about how we could do additional advanced features. And then also, if you guys missed green screening with Ellie, we have that down here as well too. Okay, so with that, let's get started. First thing you're going to need is this After Effects script. You download it. If this will come up, you just file save as, or copy this and put it into your notepad and paste it. And then if you save it, just save it as whatever you want to call it. I called it massphotos.jsx. And then obviously you would save that and add that as a plugin into After Effects. Just how we did it the first one for the CSV to text layers in the text layer script. So once you go there, we'll open up After Effects. So this is a template I found. And as you see, there's like a lot of different things we need. And typically what we would do, right, to get this little whole mosaic thing going is we'd have to go into each image and drag and drop an image into this and resize it to fit the screen, right? No longer do we have to do that. This is pretty simple with the script now. So let me just find my photos. Okay, so here we have, how many photos is this? So this is about 17 photos, I think. No, how many photos is this? I thought it would tell you how many I've selected somewhere. Okay, I have 31 photos here. And then I have how many here? I have 17 here. Okay, and how many do I need? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you need 70 images on this, right? So what's 33 plus 17? 50. Okay, so we'll be missing like 20. That's fine. So what I like to do is I'll come in just for organization, make a new folder. We'll call it images to use. And then I'll come in, drag these, drag these in there. So now we have these in here, and then I'll add some more. Just drag and drop. Okay. So now we have a bunch of images in here. And so this portion is gonna be super simple. All we have to do is once you get your script downloaded, you run your script. Mine's called massphoto.jsx. It'll bring up this dialog that says photo video comps to comps. Okay. And so technically these are all compositions here. So what you do is you just highlight all of these, right? I think we said it was 50 of them, right? And we hit select because we just selected these. And then we go down to your images section. And then we had 50 images. So we'll go all the way to image 50. And then, so here is where you can say, I want it to be fit landscape, I want it to be fit portrait, or I want to keep it original size. And so based on that, I'll just go with original for now. So some of these are going to be zoomed, but it'll basically stretch your image to fit the composition width or height based on if you select landscape or portrait. And so once you hit apply, it'll start working. When what it's doing now, it's like it's individually actually going into each composition and adding all your images. So now, as you can see, if I open up like image 1, this composition has me in here. And so this is what I did if it's original size. If I didn't do it as original size, so let me do a few more. So I think we need 20 more. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'll just select all of these again. And then I'll go down to 51. Let's just do till, oh, did I hit select already? I forgot. Does anyone remember if I hit select already? Okay, I'll just restart the process. Go down here, hit select again. And then, so this time I'll do landscape, okay? And I'll go from 51 to 70 and hit apply. And so now, in image 51, you can see it stretched at landscape to fill it in. And obviously, so portrait would be probably the other way.
So, Alikan, would it make sense to go and kind of sort your pictures first by portrait and landscape?
I'm getting so yes, that is exactly right. That is exactly what I do. So you'll see, like, for example, I can't download this, but if you can see in this thumbnail, right, you have vertical pictures here and horizontal pictures, right? And so in those cases, that is when you need to figure out if something needs to be horizontal or landscape. So the way I do that, let me just show you the final comp right now. So you can see, like, oh my gosh, look, we did all of this in a matter of a minute or two. This used to take me like hours. And so this is a really nice script I found to do that. And so now you have this entire montage of like images that would normally have taken us forever to get done. And it's done really quickly. Okay, so yeah, on to our more technically advanced things, right? So the main thing you'll see is that this landscape and portrait are great to use with landscape or portrait images. And to do that, I had a friend of mine, Tofik, some of you guys might know him. He wrote me a script to actually do this. So I'll open that up here. So this is a Python script. It's pretty basic, but what this is doing essentially is it's importing, it's looking through a bunch of your files and making sure they're all images. And then once it figures out that they're all images, it'll go through and sort them to be landscape and portrait and output them into folders. And you can specify a batch size. So you can say, hey, I want groups of, like, let's say you have different montages you want to make. We had to do a lot of this during Nuvros. We would have, there's a batch number we can define in here. So yeah, number of images per bucket. So if you just want one bucket, just make it like 500. But if you need something smaller, you can make it like 5. And so directories is, so let me just show you my folder structure here. So I have, on my desktop here, I have a demo, and then I have my graduation photos, right, in this one directory. So this directory, if I go to this, if I open up a terminal window, right, if you're on Windows, this would be in PowerShell or command prompt. So what I would do is, so present working directory, that's pwd. And I'm just listing at the files. So I'm gonna go to my desktop where I stored it. So I stored it in the desktop and then in the demo folder, and then in my like in my grad folder, right? So this is where I am. If you see, these are all the images I have in there. And if I type in pwd, that stands for present working directory. I'll copy this image, this path to all these images, right? And so I go back to my Python script, and this main directory is where you would put your directory information. If you're on Windows, this will start with like a C:/ and then wherever this all is located, right? And then this last directory, like I remember I had this all in a folder called grad, right? So I'll remove this grad directory because this is actually the subfolder. So if I had multiple folders, like let's say I had grad 2, grad 3, actually I do have multiple folders. I have this other one, right? Stills. So I can add this folder as well into here using a comma and then type in stills. So now it knows I have these two folders full of images. Okay. Who's with me? Who has questions on this so far? I know this is a lot to take in. Everyone's good? All right, cool. So the prerequisite to this is you have to install Python. This is just an IDE to view Python. I could have done this also in just a text editor. I use Sublime Text as a text editor. So this is just a text editor. Oops, sorry, stop my share. Yeah, so this is just a text editor that lets you view these in an easier way. Sorry, this Zoom bar is getting in my way. Okay. So the main dependencies here is CV2 and NumPy. Usually if you have an IDE, these will automatically be installed. But if not, the way you'd install them is, I was doing this earlier. So CV2, you would just install, you'd run this command, pip install OpenCV Python, which is a pretty heavy framework. And you would just hit that and it'll install. And then the other thing is NumPy, which you would just do pip3 install NumPy. That's how you would get that installed. So those are called dependencies in Python, and those are two like libraries that we're sort of using to run all of this. Okay, so let's get to running, right? That's the fun part. So we're gonna take all these files, it'll parse through all the files, and then look through all the images and then say, hey, these are gonna be either landscape or portrait. And then based on that, it'll put it into buckets. And then it's gonna put it into this, whatever your main directory is, it's gonna create a folder called output, and then put some in the landscapes to a folder called landscapes, and then your portraits in the portraits. Somewhere there's a portraits, the portraits directory. So that's sort of how that works. And so if I just run the script, we will see what happens. Hopefully nothing breaks. Okay, started running it, and it's still running. Unsupported file, so something is not in the right extension. Number of images 31. Okay, so I found some images in those right formats. And now in this output folder, we have landscape. All these photos should be landscape. As you can see, they're all landscape. And they've all been renamed as well. Yeah, so all your landscape photos here are all landscapes. And then here, will be all your portraits. So you have all your portrait images here. So pretty cool. Now we've sorted all these into verticals and horizontals. And these two text outputs are the original file names. If you ever need to reference them, they're in order. Because like I said, they all got renamed and stripped of their original names. So they're all in order now. So you can count with numbers as well. So now let me undo what I already did. So these are all squares, so it's not as fun on this one. I don't have another template on the top of my list right now, but usually what I would do is I'd look for one with like portraits and landscapes. So I'll make 2 folders now, one for portraits and one for landscapes. And now I'll import all the portraits into one. And then your landscapes will be in your landscapes. And so now when you go through your to apply these images, I forget which one's which. I believe it's all going to be it's either the opposite or the same. So let me just try it. I'll just select and then go to, where are those images? Final comp. No, not final comp. There it is, images. And then, oh, look at that. I know I have 17 images, 17 portraits. So I'll go and select these 17. And then I'll go to the first 17 here. And let's try landscape. I hope it's the right one. We can check. Ugh, no, it's portrait. Okay. One other thing is that, okay, so if you have to, well, I'll get to it in a second. Let me apply to it. Select, and then go here, 17, portrait, apply. What's happening here? So this doesn't use your normal scaling position. There's another way to apply this, and I forgot how they did it. I'm trying to look for it now. Is it this scale height? No, it's not this. There's a effect that they added. I am missing it. Oh yeah, there's a function on this. Okay. So they're using a function to actually and why? Why don't I remember? You can make it, you can view a function somehow. I just don't remember on top of my head how to do it. Where was function? Does anyone remember where you can see functions? Yeah, it's been a while for all of us, huh? Okay. Anyways, I won't spend too much on that. Just keep a note, like, so the scaling, if you're trying to, like, shift this horizontally or vertically, just know that there's also already a function on this. So I know there's like a way to, like, just say fit to comp. That sometimes won't work because there's a function on it. So just be wary of that. Yeah. And then the other thing about this is that, let me see what else I have on this. Sorting we got through. Pasting, it's just playing around with these functions. It's not too difficult once you figure out which one's which. And then, yeah, it's just that function is how it's applied. So just remember that. That's basically all it is to this. If anyone who wants me to put on another, like, if you have another sample you want to see, or any questions on this, I can answer that. But that's basically the gist of it. Yeah, so landscape will fit to landscape. Okay. That means if I select.
Don't you almost want it the other way around, where the landscape fits to height and the portrait fits to width?
Yeah, it'll zoom to fit like this now, instead of the you won't see the black bars anymore. So that's typically what I do once this updates. So yeah, now you see all these landscapes fill the full square because they all stretch to be the full all the flares. So yeah, so you see now there's like very little black space because it's all stretched to fit. Obviously, you have to go through and sometimes see like a lot of these like square ones you might have to manually fix a little bit because the image sizes are a little skewed. But for the most part, like if they look like this, most people can't tell from far away that they actually are skewed. So I've been able to get away with a lot of it. But yeah. So that's basically how easy it is. Now all of you guys have the tools to do it. Does everyone understand this, how to run the script? So I used an IDE. If you don't have an IDE, the way you'd run it would be to just write Python. So remember, I got to this directory, right, where I'm in, and the name of that file was called sorter.py. So I'd run Python sorter.py. That's how I do it from here. And there's some errors. I think I haven't installed all the dependencies here because I don't really use it from the terminal. I usually use it from PyCharm, but that's how you would do it from the terminal if you use it that way. And PyCharm's the application I use. It's like an IDE for Python scripting. So good times. Currently using it to get my Jamad kind of app scheduling. So Python is some powerful tool. But yeah, any more questions? Pretty simple. Everyone knows the link to where all this information is right here. The image sorter script, and then the After Effects script is here. And I'll put this in the chat. But yeah, that's all I have.
Nice.
So who's doing the next tutorial?